because of the Varna system. Can you explain more on that? Like, how did that prevent Islamization or anything? Like, I was not able to get the process it in my mind.
Yeah. So the Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma kept the society strong. That was a framework that provided the strengthening aspect of the society. Okay, so we all respected each other, and the there was a respect for the Brahmana. The Vedic Pandit respect is there. Now every society they respect educators, okay, but in our society it was because it was a Varna, Brahmana Varna was there, and they led their life by values, value driven life, and so the king would actually prostrate to the Brahmana. Okay, and it was a life of sacrifice, it was a life of complete dedication to the Vedas. And so you won't find that in other societies, that kind of person you won't find, right? You will find a healthy society, no doubt, but you won't find a person who says, I am the whole, I am everything, and simply sit in a hut and won't be affected by anything else happening in the world. Correct? So
Yes.
that provided the pillar for the society, and everybody accepted that, and everybody knew. So that person never had any money. The rishi never had any money. The king had all the money, but and he could go on. He does whatever he wants, but his advisor has to be Vashishta. Advisor has to be Vashishta. So the somebody who has the money doesn't have all the knowledge. Somebody who has all the knowledge doesn't have the wealth. So that society became a strong society. Exploitation was to the minimum. Exploitation will happen, but the system itself prevents exploitation. Correct? So that's the system.
Uh-huh. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong because the way I look at it, because the thing that I'm more familiar with, I thought like the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, literally they had the power, and they kind of delegated the other lower parts of this because of the Varna system. They had been exploited, or not exploited, or at least stayed backward. So it happened in the other way also, like wherein the power was between these two, and these two together, when they combined, they kind of kept a part of the society underdeveloped. Could we not into also think about that it also kind of is a black mark on our Varna system?
Yeah, so it has become like that. So model, what I explained is a model that was there in our society for a long time. And then for various reasons, insecurity and all that set in, and then that's it. So the Brahmana position was leveraged. Brahmana's position was used to get this and get that. And then this abuse was there. And so you see that in the past. And now the system is changing. They have audible.
You're not audible for a while, Jai Kumarji.
Yeah, I got a message here that my internet was unstable. So, okay. Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, exploitation is there in every society, Mohini, and then there is no society that is immune to exploitation. We also exploit people. They also exploit people. Everybody exploits people. So the question is, and how do you minimize that? My answer to that is this: if a Brahmana does Brahmana karma and gains Brahmana guna, then that society will be a good society. So if a Brahmana gives up the Brahmana karma and say, I want to do this, I want to invest, I want to do this about real estate, this and that. This fellow is supposed to have a shika and chant Veda Paranam and teach Veda Paranam. Okay. And if that Brahmana follows that karma, then the rest of the society will also follow. Follow, do whatever it is, follow dharma. Correct? Follow dharma. So I point to my own people who gave up their own karma and then started doing all these things and then started accumulating real estate and land and this and that, and then then it's anybody. It's what is it? Free for all. Huh? What do they say? Free
Yes.
for all.
And
Then what's the use of all this?
okay, so
So
it
that is
was
how.
basically that's why it couldn't stand the test of time.
So see, I'll tell you, Mohini, this
Mm.
idea that the Brahmanas gave up their karma and therefore the Indian society went downhill. Guess what? It's not some theory I'm saying. The clue was given by the British. Macaulay went around. How do I colonize this country? And you know what? He saw he met all the kings and this and that. They were doing business, and then he saw the king prostrating to a half naked man.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me which country he saw. In England, can you see this?
No.
No, he's been to all places. He never saw this kind of scene. And a king prostrating. Then who is greater? The king is greater or this person is greater? Well, obviously, he said, this person, if I brainwash this half-naked man, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then the country is in my hands. That is it. Macaulay figured it out. And from Macaulay, I'm learning. Okay. So that's very true. There's a lot of truth in that, Mohini ji. I believe that was they figured it out and they implemented it. And so all these exams, ICS, IAS, all these exams you see, my goodness, I was looking at the IAS curriculum the other day. It's completely nothing to do with India. These IAS people, they are supposed to study in England for 1 year. In civil services, Indian civil services, they were supposed to study in England for 1 year. They were supposed to learn horse riding. They were supposed to pass the horse riding exam. And then they come here to become IAS officers. And we're asking the question, is today's IAS exam any different? Today's IAS officers, are they really taught about India or not? Do they really have an idea of India's greatness, etc.? The answer is a big no. And so you can see what all happened in the past. And we have a lot of clues now, and we have a lot of ideas. And so we are working on changing a lot of things. And so that's a system. There's a beauty to the system, and the system has to be brought in. And so in one line, if I say, how can India improve? Hey, if we nourish Veda Patashalas, if we nourish this Vedic teaching, if we nourish Vedanta and these kinds of teachers, if we nourish our ashrams and encourage more and more people, bring that into colleges, etc., and universities, then the country can go nowhere but to go up. That's another way to put it. Correct?
I mean, you can even see it in Mahabharata when Drona, instead of being a Brahmana, he became a Kshatriya, trying to learn weapons, like, about arms and stuff. So that's where the values started falling, probably, like we didn't stick to or they didn't stick to the roles they were assigned to.
Right. So we see Drona, etc. Correct. So giving up their karma, main karma. And so we can't say at this point society started deteriorating. I mean, that's we may be able to, we can't pinpoint like that, but we get some clues from that and say, okay, how do
Like
we?
a shift in way of thinking from the way it was created, because Krishna is talking about this Varna system, and we can see it in Dwapar Yuga itself, things were shifting. I'm not saying that's the point, but definitely, like, significant over time it changed, and it was significant in the British era. But yeah, I mean, I got the point. What you said is, we are the Brahmanas, especially the people who are the highest values, they don't stick to their values, then the entire society collapses eventually.
I think in our society, I think that argument can apply, and so I feel that's true. And so once the Brahmana can, because then that person becomes somebody who can look up, who others can look up to, and then the society will automatically change, etc. Mahesh ji.
Yeah, hi. A couple of things, comments. One was about your shipbuilding you mentioned. I happened to visit a restaurant in Kuwait a few years ago. Actually, it was a boat. It was a 200-300 feet boat. That the speciality was that that boat was built in Calicut in 1800s, and they used to come, and after became very used for a long time, then they preserved it in Kuwait and converted that into a restaurant. So if you go to that ship, they have a lot of history in terms of writings and pictures of those trades in those times, either handwritten or captured. And everybody who went to at least dine, they gave me a nail that was used in the ship. It is
They
a
gave what?
nail which
They gave what?
nail. It was about 5 inches long, half an inch diameter, and it's a steel, and they used some special herbal thing so that it doesn't corrode.
Right.
Because that every nail, there was some small description written about the boat as well as how the nail was preserved. So I thought I'll mention this in the context.
Sure, definitely. These are fascinating stories. Yeah. So the Ashoka pillar, not rusted. So what they used to do is they had this herbal concoction which they used, and I want to study more about that. If any of you have good references, let me know. And that's how that metallurgy plus non-rusting, they were able to. They
Yeah,
knew that long
and
ago.
he said it that those days at least the written writing there says those days that was the largest ship being traded, one of the largest ship, and it very clearly says built in Calicut. I may have a picture of that somewhere.
Yeah.
I was not so much interested in the food. I was more interested to
Right. Thanks, Maheshji. Thank you. Yeah. Prasad, go ahead.
Okay. Regarding ship, I just remembered. In fact, there's a story about Vasco da Gama, how he has borrowed Indian ship to come to Calicut anyway. When compared to his ship, it's like a huge ship from Indian side. Yeah. Um, so my question is on the 12th sloka. So people do not seek Ishvara because of the quick results. And actually they are seeking prayers, always strives for getting material benefits, possessions and all that, right? On the other hand, throughout Gita, it has been told that it is the acceptable self that everyone is seeking. Now, how do we reconcile this? I mean, I was thinking in my mind, the answer between to reconcile between these two is like probably it is the difference between my causal body versus my subtle body. So I just need clarification on that.
No, I mean, you don't have to go to causal body, subtle body and all that. The point is that karma produces results. Action produces results. And that's all we know. There is no other thing we know. And so Shastram says that karma cannot make you secure. Karma can give you a feeling of security, but it cannot make you secure. And so you must already be secure, it says. So and so I don't think this has anything to do with Karna Sharira and Sukshma Sharira and all that. That is a model. Karna Sharira, etc. It's a model to describe some of these things, some of various other things. But I don't think we need to invoke Karna Sharira here.
But how do you reconcile between these two? That 12th sloka, which says that it's actually seeking for the quick results, whereas throughout Gita, it has been actually the acceptable self that everyone is seeking throughout life.
The reconciliation is through Ajnana. Ajnana. When I don't know who I am, I will think I am out there. What I'm seeking is out there. And so that is Ajnana. I need to know what I'm seeking is myself. And that's Ajnana. That is Ajnana is what reconciles everything. Brings everything together in one platform. Ajnana. then therefore jnanam, therefore shastra. Correct?
So basically, it is moving from here to the first step to the second step. So I'm not happy till the point. I mean, I'm actually looking for happiness all along. So going step by step, I need this, I need that, I need this. And till the point, well, this is where I get my happiness. Right? That
Correct.
self is the final happiness.
Correct. So jnanam, ajnanam, therefore jnanam. That is what reconciles both. Yeah, good. Vijay Menon.
Yeah. So Guruji, this guna, when I talk about guna, I mean sattva, rajo and tamo gun. This is something one can work upon, right? This is within not only control, but we can take a lot of measures to improve, get from maybe tamo to rajo and then to sato guna. So once we progress in this, our perspective about the karmas might also start to change, right? There could be conflicts where at one point maybe Vaishya, because that was what we were. But as our Satogun increases, maybe karma also starts conflicting. Oh, Vaishya is probably not the right thing. I'm moving towards maybe administration if it's Kshatriya or Brahmana karma. That conflict starts to happen, I think, once the gunas domination changes, is what I feel. Is that right thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. It happens all the time. You start working somewhere, then only you realize, oh, this is not me. I need to be somewhere else. And so you quit and then you do something else. And this happens all the time. So yeah, we discover, takes a while to even discover what we are. And then after we discover who we are, then we have to look for the right occupation. That's a big challenge also. And so yeah, absolutely. Constantly changing. Correct.
Constantly changing and conflict happening. At least I have realized it a lot when I was in the corporate world. A lot of things I just couldn't, once I started getting into spirituality and getting more and more exposed, I couldn't do many things which my job wanted me to do. So it became a big conflict. That's when I said corporate world is enough for me.
Yeah, so greater the conflict will just kick you out. Will just shunt you out. So the system will kick you out. And it's not like you might say, I chose to come out, but the system also doesn't want you and just kick you out. And so that's how it works.
Thank you.
Chittappa, solunga. Venkataraman.
It is in a lighter vein. Somebody standing in the bus stop, one fellow inquires, I want to go to Chennai, will the bus come here? The fellow says, will come. But then he says, will not come. He says, what do you mean by that, will come and will not come? Normally, bus will come, but they are on strike for the 7 days, the bus will not come. So Krishna says, I will not do. I'm reminded of that one. And also, another thing I heard, there is a very big company in India, I don't want to name it. The employees in the company, their families are taken care of. The children's education dues. So we have not heard any strike in the company at all. That because, and if the children want to follow the father's profession, it is allowed. The children, right from young age, they are trained in the factory, education is taken care, and he can take whatever profession he wants in the same company. That's why we have not heard of any strike in that company. How to take care of the people. And when you said the Kula Dharma, that we take care of it. So what's the father's profession somebody wants, he can kind of pursue.
Okay. Yeah, we've heard of some employers who provide an excellent work environment and encourage a good work-family balance, etc., providing place for children to play, their own children, young parents, etc. All this we've heard. I think Cisco used to have that to some extent.
I think it is a TVS.
TVS, yeah. TVS. Yeah, in India, TVS. Yeah, definitely. There are companies that we do that. Yeah.
Jaykumarji.
Yeah, Sundari-ji, go ahead.
This is regarding the car festival in Kumbakonam. We used to have almost 10 cars during different periods, Vaishnava temple and Shiva temple. And I have seen it turning, 90 degrees. There used to be called Ulukumaram. It is an inclined plane like log of wood where these fellows will be standing on it, with a stick in the hand. And there will be one person, he is the person who will be turning the wheel, that is called Muttukattai. Will be sitting very close to the wheel, very, very dangerous. But, there will be that sound of the cymbals and the other, the talam and all that. So there is a synchronization. So the back wheel, they'll be jumping over it, and then there will be so much of, noise and all that. And then that fellow will be applying that Muttukattai, and then slowly, it will be turning, and it is such a beautiful sight to watch. And they were not educated, but they can take the ratham from the tear from the Nelailendu Tiruppi kondu vekkira muttom. It is pakka. I used to always watch that near the turning of that Vidhi, almost a 90-degree turn. Perfect. 100% perfect. So that
yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to watch. Amazing.
Just the whole city just comes down there, and everybody's watching.
Exactly.
And
So much of
everybody's praying also, because it's Bhagavan is coming, Shiva is here, and Vishnu is here, and therefore it's a. I think these celebrations are so important that we have to revive.
So some of them they say, சொர்க்கத்தில் இடம் வேண்டுமானால் வடம் வேண்டும்.
சொர்க்கத்தில் இடம் வேண்டுமானால்
தேரின் வடம் பிடிக்க வேண்டும். Vadam means that கயிறு.
What she's saying is, if you want a place in Swarga, then you must hold on to that rope of that chariot. That's what she's saying.
So we will make it a point to go and just touch that, rope every time.
Correct. We do that.
I have done it.
We touch the rope and do this.
Yeah. And you do it, and then maybe little effort, so much of crowd, but pakka synchronization, my God,
Yes.
Jaykumarji. Yeah.
Narayananji. 1 second. Hang on. You can unmute yourself. Yeah, we can't hear you though. You're unmuted, but we still can't hear you. Okay. Haraprasad, meantime.
Yes, sir. About this is about the advice that I want to know what kind of advice you would have given for. You said somebody wanted to know about their children's career or whatever it is. Do you think a teenager is in a position to think about a profession that he's going to like it throughout his life, and that is going to bring him satisfaction?
No, the answer is a big no.
Okay.
Not only the answer is no, but the teenager thinks that he can figure it out. That also is,
okay.
Both things are there. That's the irony of the whole thing. I know I can figure out what I want, but really speaking, it's a moving target.
Yeah, so that being the case, you cannot say to the parents, leave him alone, let him figure it out. You cannot do that.
Right.
Can you?
No, we didn't mean it in that way. And every person needs guidance, and so parents are there to provide guidance. We are saying that don't force your ideas on the child. That's all we say. I want to become a doctor, therefore I always wanted to become a doctor. So now I want my son to become a doctor. Now that's a problem. That's a problem, correct, Haraprasadji? Do you agree?
I don't know.
I
I don't know in this.
want to become a doctor through my son. Is that a problem or not?
Yes.
Because my time is over. My time is over. There's no chance I'm going to be a doctor. But I have children, and I make sure give them the best medical education. They'll become doctors. Is that a problem or not?
I don't think so, because that kid, they're asking the kid to follow the Varna Dharma. They're asking the kid to follow the family tradition.
No, I'm just saying, don't impose your strong sense of what is to be done and not to be done on your child. Values, yes, but anything other than values, you have to be careful, because every child is an independent jiva with their own likes and dislikes, and they have their own creativity. You give them some room to see what they are good at, and that's why counseling and all is so important, because a counselor's job is not easy. They're supposed to see what exactly this boy or girl wants. What is their family background, and where will it take them, and things like that. How much can this child afford to explore? Because they are well-off people. So even if the child goes around a little bit, they can manage. But what if it's from a poor background? Okay, all this the counselor has to look at. And so what we are saying, Hariprasad, is that advising and guiding is one thing, and that always is there. But forcing something to happen, it's not a good idea. That's all we say.
In fact, that is a bad tradition in Indian society, where lots of suicides are happening, right? For example, I mean, we are forcing the children to go through all that, and many suicides are being reported.
Correct. Definitely, we need to be very careful. And I also met a lot of people who are, well-off people and not so well-off people, and they say, my child, I want my child to be happy, and she's doing quite well, and I want her to do what she likes to do, etc. So provide the right environment, and then at the same time, whatever you want to do doesn't mean just you can do literally whatever you want to do. There are within certain boundaries, you do whatever you want to do.
But the problem in India, Jagmaji, is that kids are allowed, their path is cast in concrete by the time they are in 10th or 11th grade to choose what they want to do. There's no exploratory period. It's like you mentioned in the US. You can go to the university, you can go from engineering to something else to something. You cannot do that. There you choose, you're done. That's, in when I was in school, it was like that. Even now, looks like it is like that.
So I conducted a workshop 3 years ago at a good school in Coimbatore. And one question I asked the principal of the school, it's a great school and everything, and they get good jobs, and the quality of education is very good. And the principal also was very, knowledgeable and everything. So I asked her one simple question at the end. You've got all these great students, your school is good, people want to come to your school. I want to ask you a question. Do your children have time to explore? Do you expose them to other things about life? Do you invite speakers who are inspiring to your school? And do they do something different? Are there co-curricular activities, things like that? And this teacher said, I'm sorry. Said, it was a good question, and I'm sorry. We don't do, it's a clockwork. They come at 8 in the morning, Kacha, 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 kacha. Like an assembly line, they have to go from this class to this class to this class until 3:34. That's what they do. And then they go home. This is all. She told me this. The principal told me this. And good school, top school in Coimbatore. You can imagine how other schools are. So, this workshop I had a couple of days ago, there was, I gave a small talk to these professors, faculty development program. And with this topic came up and they also agreed, suicides and this and that are there. We push our students too much, etc. And so the education, Maheshji, this is a very big topic. I don't want to say something and say it's very simple. This Indian education system is a mess, and we ruin our children's lives one way or the other. This is my feeling. We've got a long way to go. And this academia pressure, this, that, it's just not right at all. And so, I mean, if we start talking on this topic, it's already 8:05. So agreed with you, Maheshji, and we've got a long way to go. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Girishji, go ahead.
Yeah, we normally refer action. Karma is always about actions, right? But don't you think that it has got an impact on your words and thoughts also?
Correct. So question is, does karma actions have an impact on our words and thoughts? Okay, good question. And the answer is yes. How? See, when we are in school, our teachers used to make us write the same thing 10 times. Sometimes, we used to do that. And the reason for that is you keep writing. Because instead of saying, understand what I taught, you just write it 10 times. 5 times you write it. And then suddenly the theorem becomes, you begin to understand the theorem. All because you wrote it for, so many times. And doing is important. So you become what you do. Sometimes they say that. You become what you do. And then you have to, because the mind will go in a particular direction. But then the karma gives us that ability to influence the mind also, even though the mind is more superior to the body, but if you have to change something in the mind, you have to change your habits have to change, then only you can. So suppose diabetes is there, sugar, you love sugar, and then you have to, and then at the same time doctor is giving this advice. What do you do? Very difficult, because mind is saying one thing and the body should not reach out to that thing, that particular thing. So habits have to change, karma has to change. The type of things you eat, you have to order, you have to tell people, to point out, scold me if I do something, you have the right to do that. So karma changes. So another example they give this thing. Suppose somebody is sad, their head is like this, sad. When the people are sad, they're generally drooping. The eyes are drooping, the head is drooping. Now what they say, go lift the person up like this. You lift the head up like this, then suddenly their spirits also will go up. Come on, what happened to you? You lift the person up. So that action of lifting the person up changes the mindset also. So yeah, absolutely. Karma is so important. Karma does influence our mind. Yeah. Good. We will stop with that. Any Srividya, you had a question.
Kumarji, Narayan here.
Yeah, Narayan, go.
Yeah, I just had one input. In SVASA, we have what is called as a Guna inventory form, assessment, self-assessment form. So there are about 30-40 questions where every individual who gets into SVASA for whatever purpose does a self-assessment of his Guna inventory, and they do that classification, and they keep doing it repeatedly over a period of time as to whether it keeps changing. And generally the trend is that the changes keep happening over a period of time.
Correct. That's good. That's a good practice. And making sure that people who find, oh, nothing has changed after 5 years and they get discouraged, make sure that doesn't happen. But That's good. Yeah, it's important. That self-assessment is very important. Yeah,
Something
Srividya.
similar. This is something similar to the Prakriti of Ayurveda. Finding out the Prakriti of Ayurveda in Ayurveda.
Ayurveda, we
Prakriti of
use, Ayurveda focuses on doshas.
Yeah. But based on characteristics, right? Again, they come out. Prakriti part of it, not Vikruti.
So what is your question, Prasad?
No, I'm just saying when the questionnaire could also give the final results based on the Prakriti, what is defined in Ayurveda. Of course, it's based on doshas, yes, agreed. But the characteristics of the person.
I can share that scale.
Okay. Yeah.
Guruji, I wanted to tell you about the guna, the conflict of gunas here. So I read somewhere that it is very explicable in the case of King Ashoka, who was a ruler who should have ruled the kingdom and led led by Rajoguna, but he turned to preaching Buddhism. That was the fall of, but that's what started the fall of India in Bharatavarsha.
Yeah, so good point. So Srividya's question is that, so many people point to Ashoka and said he was the one who caused the downfall of the Indian civilization, recently at least. So there's a lot of truth to that. And so there, that person, it took to Buddhism. He's a king. And then suddenly he said, I'm going to walk away from this whole thing. So he abdicated his dharma. That is one thing. And so he has to know if he's really a smart guy, then he must know, wait a minute, the country needs me right now, and I can't walk away from this. And if I walk away, the country will go to dogs. And he didn't know that. He just walked away because Sangamitra, his daughter, walked away. And I think his son also walked away. Sangamitra, I think, is his daughter, right? So like this, so some names are coming to me now. So yeah, he should not have done that. Very sad, very, very sad. So dharma, we have to follow dharma, and you can be, so that's why this duty is so important. This duty. What is my duty at this time? I may like to do so many different things, but what's my duty right now? That's so important, correct? So we have to be grounded by that also. Yeah, good point.
Jaykumarji, one question. Jaykumar, is education, the goal of education is to change karma or is it to change guna?
So what do you think it is, Narayanji?
I think it's more to do with karma.
Yeah. So, see, it's a debatable topic. So what is education actually doing today, if you ask? It is giving us some skills to survive in this world. That's what it's doing. Because our children have no role models, nothing. They are just going through this assembly line, they are making, and they are getting a degree, and then they're getting a job. And these people are confused. And 40 years, and then they're confused. They don't know. Nothing is working for them. So that's how this education system is. If anybody is successful in this system, happy in the system, that's probably because of marriage and some other things. Family, family upbringing was good. Something worked out for that person other than the education. That's why that person is able to lead a happy life. And so that's my feeling. Already Maheshji pointed to the Indian education system. So what it should do, it should provide all the possibilities. Provide the children all possibilities. This is how the world is. Let them visualize the world. Do you help your children visualize the world or not? This is the question I have. Can they look at this world and say, oh, now I understand? Every child should say that. Now I understand. Oh, now I understand that going after money is not necessarily going to help me in my life. Now I understand that it doesn't matter what I really do, what profession, I must love to do what I do. Oh, now I understand. I have to balance. Dharma is so important. Whatever I do, dharma is more important. Oh, now I understand. The child must be able to say all these things. then it doesn't matter what you teach, what university, what college, what medical system, technology, this country, that country, nothing matters. The child must say, yes, I know. And so the child is always grounded. Whether our education system does that or not, I don't think it does always. Because I'm talking to all teachers and professors. They're saying, no, Jaykumarji, we are killing our children. That's what they tell me. Professors are telling me, what do I do? And so that's how bad it is. So we have to do a rethink. We have to do a rethink. So a lot of
value-based teaching is much more important, correct?
Value-based
Education is what's more important.
Yeah, so value-based education. Yeah, definitely. Value-based education, but periodically reaffirming those values. And before every year starts, the principal and teachers have to have something, some system where they come back to themselves. What is the purpose of life? Why are we in school? Some reminder has to be there. A child has to be reminded constantly. Adults also have to be reminded constantly. Some grounding mechanism has to be there. That's why I think some of these more, Amrita type schools and colleges and etc. They are more grounded, despite and they're also able to advance technologically, but they are grounded also. Correct?
Jaykumarji, do you think it's the duty of the parents or the school I think all these things also should start at home too? I mean, people are so busy nowadays. What values are the parents giving to their children too matters. If they are after earning money, they are after establishing themselves, and
Current education
it will
system.
have an effect on the kids. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but with the competition, people tend to be like that. It's not a fault. It is just the system is moving in a different direction.
Current education.
I don't know. He just disappeared probably.
Yeah, I think there was an internet issue outside.
Oh, he left.
Dropped.
Because we're being atomic family.